Everyone has at least one rehearsal story. Like something goes wrong in a rehearsal, or some weird stuff happens, or something really entertaining. So, I have a story I want to share because I want to see if you guys were in the room when this happened. This involves me and Uzi actually. But let's go on with let's start with Vignesh first for this. Do you have a rehearsal story?
I think I know what you're referring to,
Do you know
but
my
I'll
story?
just
Okay,
like
hold on for now. Your story.
My funny rehearsal story also has to do with Uzi. I think it's one of my most embarrassing moments. It was so funny.
Oh, okay. So this is gonna be triple threat because my story also involves Uzi.
Just
Oh my God, Uzi!
You're always there.
Uzi, see, I'll.
And we are recording. Okay, hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Stayin Alive podcast. And today I'm joined by three of the most talented people I know. We have with us Vighnesh. Vighnesh, say hi.
Hi guys. Hi Shawki.
We have Houda. Houda, say hi.
Hello.
And we have Uzi. Uzi, say hi.
Hey everyone.
So the topic for today's discussion is theater and the performing arts. Now, I'm going to structure this particular episode a little differently. Usually I just ask questions in the past, but what I want to do is I want to dedicate some time towards the end of this episode to actually try an acting exercise with these three people. But we'll start off with the questions. And the first question essentially I want to ask you guys is, I want you guys to take a trip down memory lane and talk to me about the first time you put yourself in front of an audience. So what was the situation like? What were you doing? Were you singing? Were you acting? Were you dancing? Were you public speaking? What was the audience's reaction? What was your reaction? And let's start with Vighnesh on this first.
My first ever experience putting myself in front of an audience was in the 8th grade when I was doing a role for the annual production of our school. That is the first honest experience I can think of where I actually felt what it's like to be in front of an audience, because otherwise it was just mechanic. And in front of them, I had to play just the role of a villager who shouted chants and everything. But even with such a role, I felt what it's like to put oneself in that position and feel the you can like sense what the judgment is like every single moment that you go through on the stage, you feel like someone in the audience is like, oh no, what is he doing, oh no, is this good enough? And by and by, I throughout like the 30 minutes I was on stage, it was it was very daunting, and like slowly I had to get rid of that, but that was my very first experience of being on stage.
So it was like a high school play in eighth
It
grade.
was a high school play, yeah.
High school play, nice. Huda?
My first time on stage was a long time ago. I think it was in first grade. We were doing Cinderella, and I was the stepmother. And I just remember.
I thought you were going to say I was Cinderella. Okay.
No, I
Go
was
on.
the stepmother. Imagine like a little tiny kid playing the stepmother and yelling at everyone. So obviously the crowd were laughing a lot. And I remember I was fighting with the microphone because I didn't want to hold a microphone, and everyone's just laughing, and I was living for it. Like, okay, more of that. And I just went with it, and I think that's when I was like, yes, I want to be on stage every day. That's the
Uzi?
first memory I
Oh.
remember of doing theater.
I'm kind of confused on how to answer this because if we're talking on stage, I think I can even recount memories that I can't in detail, but if it's about putting myself out there and consciously taking it in, it's a bit different. Because I think I've been like even in grade 1 on stage, but I can barely remember anything. But I remember I was like, oh, it was so nerve-wracking. And I remember I didn't even want to audition for anything. I just stood, I was like puppets, you know, they were like puppets in the show. I'm like, I'll be the puppet hand or whatever. I'm like, because I don't want to stand in front of everyone. That's so scary. But do you want me to say first time on stage or first time really putting myself in front of people? 'Cause,
Putting yourself, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be on stage, but like in the sense that people are watching me and I'm doing something for them. So in that sense.
well, I won't talk necessarily about like doing in front of relatives. I'll talk more so in front of strangers, because I feel like that's the biggest one,
Yeah.
you know, really
Yeah.
where you feel something. I would like to say the first time would be somewhere in grade 10, but if I'm being honest, it would be somewhere in grade 4, and it's the stupidest thing ever. But I can remember it like giving me that kick that I'm like, man, I really like doing this kind of stuff. It was like, I don't know. So I have really like, as you can see, really straight hair, and it like curves over my face and stuff like that. And in school, it was always kind of like we'd kind of like make fun of it. It's like so straight. And then one day, one of my friends was started like playing around with my hair, tied it, like put 2 knots, and it kind of became like pigtails. And then like, oh, you look pretty funny. And another thing, just it's like just such an odd bunch of circumstances coming together to make a show. On that day, I was wearing pink undies, and the reason being like my mom had put white undies with like red clothing, and I don't know, maybe I'd bent down to pick something, and my friend looked and like started laughing. He's like, "You look so stupid. First you have the pigtails, then you have like the pink undies." And I know we had some stupid toy as well, and we were like playing around in the back of the class, and we kind of made like this skit. And at the end of the skit, I mean, in the skit, I kind of act like a crazy person or something like that. And at the end of the skit, the big like sell moment was my friend like pants me, and I'm wearing like these pink underpants, because it's like such a shocker. Like no one would ever do that.
This was in
I
grade
think that
10, by
was
the way.
no, grade 4, grade 4.
Oh, okay.
Grade 4, yeah. That's what I'm saying. The grade 10 ones is a much nicer story. This is a more stupid
Yeah,
story. But
he
I have
had
to
blue
be,
underwear on grade 10. So that's how it
yeah.
go. Yeah,
So that was the thing. Like we kind of brought people to my class. Oh, look, we're going to do this skit, and people were loving it. And then we do the big surprise where everyone's like, oh, yeah, because I just like pants. But unfortunately, I don't know, maybe after like a couple of shows, there were some girls who were like not into that, and they complained. They're like, what the hell, you can't pants people. And then like we got in trouble or something. But yeah, that would be like, I remember getting such a high off like bringing people like entertainment, like laughing and having and people crowding together. And I think that's really give me a kick. Like I really like jumping in front of a crowd of people and doing stuff. Yeah.
Wow, these are all great stories. My next question is actually something that was asked to us when I was doing this acting workshop back in spring 2019. So the question that was put to us was, when you hear the word audition, what's the first word that comes to your mind?
Impress.
Impress?
Impress, yeah. For
Impress.
me, whenever I hear the word audition, it's like, but impress not just the people who are watching it. I mean, I also need to impress myself when I'm putting myself in that position. So that's one of the words that come to my mind.
Uzi?
Because it's really sort of you're challenging yourself to interpret this character the best that you can and put the best that you can.
I'm sorry, your
at
voice
that
kind of
moment.
broke in the beginning. Could you repeat the word again?
Oh, so can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I said the first word that came to my mind when you said audition was challenge, because that's kind of how I see it, as sort of like here you have to show your best interpretation of a character and give your best at that particular moment. So that's just the first word that came in mind, and I think that's why.
I think for me it's like be groundbreaking or be unforgettable. Like you want to walk in there and be the one person that's unforgettable, someone who really puts
Stands out.
themselves out there, you know?
Yeah. Okay, cool. The word that comes to my mind was control.
Controller.
Yeah, not control, control. And I remember as he was asking the
Oh.
people, and he's like, "Okay, so what's the word that comes to your mind?" And I said control, and he's like, "Control."
Why is that?
Okay. Because I feel like you said, right, when you walk into an audition, people are pretty nervous because they don't know if they're gonna get
Yeah.
the chance or if they're not gonna get the chance. But I guess the most you can do is just the best, right? So you can just focus on what you're capable of doing. And so that's essentially what's in your control. So as long as you're focusing on what's in your control, you don't have anything else to worry about.
Yeah,
And if it happens, it happens.
I really like that you said that. It kind of reminds me of something. Do you guys know Bryan Cranston? You know, like the Breaking
Breaking
Bad,
Bad.
Walter White.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gave such a nice. I think he said something really nice about auditions. I really liked it. He was like, it's one of the things is, see, control makes you feel confident. You know, if you feel like you have a sense of control on things, when you feel things are out of your control is when you get nervous, is when you get anxious. So the way to sort of put control, give yourself control when you're the one auditioning, is to think, and this is actually true, is that you're the one in the power position because you're there giving them something they need. Because, see, first of all, you have to understand that they're on your side. Like, these people, these casting directors and whatnot, they need actors to do their project. So they want you to succeed. They want you to be the thing that they're looking for, to be the best person to do that role. So if you really think that way, it's almost like you're their savior. So if you put yourself in that mindset, you'll feel much more powerful. Like, hey, I'm there to give you something. Let me show you what I got. Let me show you why I'm the best thing that could be. And the other sort of thing to take when you feel bad, like you got rejected or whatever, you shouldn't really feel that way, because, see, at the end of the day, it's subjective. And when you read a character, it's your interpretation of the character. So your goal mindset should be, let me give how I see this character. And the thing is, and if you don't get it, don't take it as necessarily, I'm not good enough. It's just that they liked someone's interpretation better, which is fine. And there'd be many instances where casting directors would remember you like, I like this guy better for this particular thing, but that guy's really good. I'm going to keep him in mind. And there's so many people have got jobs like that. It's like, so just go there to give the best you can. And if you don't get it, it doesn't mean you're not talented or whatever. It's just that for that particular thing, someone else had a better connection to the part.
At the end,
Yeah,
it
that
does
makes a lot of
kind of
sense.
at the end it does kind of trace back to you leaving the audition room not expecting to have impressed them. You need to get out of there and feel like you were the one in control. You were the one who
Yeah.
embraced the role. You were the one who did some justice to the script. Because it is a different feeling walking out of the audition room and being like, okay, did the executives like it? Like, in my situation, I would walk out and be like, did I like it? I mean,
The
throughout,
self-satisfaction.
did I get something doing? Did I feel the character? Like, for me, that's what I would say. It's not like I don't have respect for people who are like, did the executives like it? But if you really love the craft, you wouldn't focus on the opinion of like a few executives who sit in the room looking for profits. You said you have to go inside being the savior of their project. So once you have that control, you are pretty much, yeah, you're pretty much in control of the whole thing. So getting out feeling self-satisfied at what you did is the best thing to do at this point.
On the subject of auditions, this would be a good segue. Even though you guys mentioned the first time you put yourself in front of an audience, do you guys remember your first audition?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
Let's go with Uzi first.
I think I was 14 or 13, something like that. And I had a cousin who's like way older than me, like probably like 30 or something like that at the time.
Mhm.
And he was like, "Hey," we sort of, it's like the first time I kind of met him, or he was sort of like, I haven't really met this cousin, and we talked about it, and then we found we had a common ground. We loved movies and acting. He's like, "Oh, that's cool. There's a place called The Junction in Dubai. It's like a community theater." and they do shows. I'm like, wow, I never knew there was something like that. I really would be interested. He's like, you're lucky that there's an audition on Saturday for 1984 by George Orwell. And I was like, oh wow, cool. Let me and he's like, there's a part for someone your age. I'm like, yeah, that's great. Like, because he said that there it's a theater where it's not like in school where you can play a grandma even though you're like 10. So they do like cast you based on age and how you look, kind of that thing. So he was like, you're lucky that there's an opportunity for someone like you. I'm like, okay, great. And so he told me a time and linked me to a Facebook page. And I was like, I read the Facebook, what you have to do for it. You have to prepare a monologue, kind of standard. And I was like, I remember I just practiced like for so many hours every day, just this one monologue. I think it was from Ferris Bueller. Ferris Bueller's Day Out, if any of you know that. In the
Yeah,
starting
yeah.
of the movie, he kind of gives this whole speech, and I
Life
got
moves fast when you're having fun. That's the
yeah,
one, right?
Yeah.
exactly that
Yeah.
one. Life moves
Yeah.
fast when you're having fun. And I just practiced it, and then I went that day, and apparently I was late because he had given me the wrong time,
Oh
and
God.
auditions had just ended, but the director was still there, and she was like, oh yeah, okay, all right, come in. And then I was there with my dad as well. I did it, and I was like really nervous. But then I talked to them. He's like, oh, you seem really passionate about this thing. And we kind of talked for a bit, and yada yada. And then he was like, well, the character is originally in the book, her name's Gladys. He's like, it's a girl, but I don't mind. I'll make it a boy for you, and then we'll kind of go. And like, so we made it Glade, and that was my kind of first audition, and I got the part, thankfully, in the first thing. Yeah.
Wow. So this is a junction in Dubai, huh? So your first audience is
Yep.
like not even a school audience, like in the sense for your first
Yeah.
audition.
It was so terrifying. The first performance, like complete strangers, like, oh my god, not even, I literally like knew no one because it's not school. Yeah.
Houda?
Well, mine was in school. Wasn't as crazy as being, you know. Mine was in school. I think it was ninth grade, I believe, and it was for Les Miserables, the musical. And I remember I wanted to be Cosette, but when you enter to a certain place and you get casted the first time and then you start getting typecasted as that same character over and over. So for me in school, it was always like the stepmom or the villain or something like that. So I got casted as the stepmom, Cosette's stepmom.
Like
And
wait
they
again,
also
like
put
after
me,
Cinderella, you got cast as a stepmom again in Les Miserables?
yes, yeah.
Wow.
I even did Annie, and I was also like the evil. But yeah, so I was also in a fat suit. So in case you guys don't know, we were going to do Comedy of Errors, and I was going to be in a fat suit. So it wasn't going to be my first time to be in a fat suit. Yeah, it was really fun. They put me in a fat suit. I had to act drunk all the time, and I was yelling all the time, and I was on a table screaming my lungs out all the time. So that was a really easy audition. It was really fun to do. Yeah.
Vighnesh.
My first audition experience was in high school as well. Up till that point of my auditions, every production was like a voluntary basis. You technically didn't have an audition, you just go give your name and just read a line in front of the teachers outside the hall. And if
You
you're
went to an
loud,
Indian school? You went to Indian
yeah,
school?
duh, yeah. I think
Okay, I
that just
get you.
summarizes
We're on the
it.
same page. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like they call you out of class, you read a line. If you're loud, you're cast. Okay, it just depends on how loud your voice is. But I think I was in the 12th grade when our music teacher, she's very passionate about theater, and like she's also one of the reasons why I put myself through the whole loop of being into the theater lifestyle. So she enrolled a bunch of 12th graders into a competition where it was called Gems Night of the Musical. So it was like a musical competition, and she gave us like three choices. we either do Les Miserables, Newsies, or Oliver Twist. And we all unanimously chose Les Miserables, and everyone was in like a group. So we had like the opening ensemble song, which we all performed, but then the auditions came down to the role of Marius Pontmercy. And it was me and four other people who were like insanely talented in singing. I was subpar until that point. I was so bad at singing. I had such a coarse voice, and our audition piece was that song. One of the solo songs of Marius was called "Empty Chairs at Empty Tables." So we were given the song, and we were given like 2 days to prepare, and we were told to come on stage and show. So me being me, I went in, I saw all possible performances of Marius Pontmercy, Nick Jonas being the absolute worst. I saw, I forgot their names, but the most notable one was in the movie where Eddie Redmayne did the role. And I was like, I need to kind of combine them and come to a meeting point where I can like show something. And I was like third out of like 5 people who were auditioning, and my singing was terrible. Like, I still remember I was on stage, I was so conscious about my notes, but I was selected because I put in acting. Like, everyone else just went there to sing. So it's a song about grief and sadness of missing your friends and everything, and people go there and sing it like opera. Like, teacher was like, no, that doesn't make sense. But I went in there, I almost like cried, and like she was like, you're perfect for the role. But I was a nightmare to teach because my notes were off, my singing was off. She's like, I want to replace you, but you have the acting. Then she had so much trouble. It was so bad until the final day, and somehow we went, and I still messed up the last day, the final performance. But she's like, your acting was good, but then to make me feel better, you're like, your singing was good. So then, like, that was my first honors. It's so I think about that, and I'm like, oh god, I was such a nightmare to deal with. And yeah, that was it.
Is this the same high school teacher who said, because I remember you mentioning this in the table read, mark my words, like you'll never be, who was the person who doubted you?
This was my 10th grade English teacher. We had a Shakespeare reading in class, and I did not pronounce the words right. I mean, predominantly I had a really thick Indian accent when reading English, but then slowly I watched a lot of movies, I listened to a lot of songs, I put myself through all that, and like now it's just not too awkward to be like a fake British accent, but it's like somewhat refines the way I speak English. But until then, I used to say "tai" instead of "thy," and like she really pointed at us. She's like, "You are very bad at Shakespeare reading. You'll never do Shakespeare." And I was like, "Huh, in your face."
Yeah, you'll never do Shakespeare. And the doors open in university, and then he just shows his.
Sir, I'm twinning with Uzi. I've made it in life.
Yeah, twinning with Uzi. That's accomplishment. Okay, Shakespeare, Les Miserables, twinning with Uzi.
That is peak. I'll put it in my
Right.
CV.
So we've established that you guys have done a couple of shows in high school and also in university. I think, Uzi, you've done I don't know 3 plays so far in university.
Through what? What's it? There's Adding Machine.
And Adding Machine.
Comedy of Errors and True West. They didn't get, the 2 of them didn't get put on, but yeah, they were like about
part of 3. And Vighnesh?
Yeah. Adam's Family, Comedy of Errors, and True West. And now we have me and Houda. We are in one production upcoming.
Oh, okay. And Houda has been in like 25, right? No, how many? You've been in 6, I guess.
Something like that. I was in Circus, DNA, then we did Adding Machine, then we did Tough Choices for the New Century, Adam's Family.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and I did something with Sharjah Police, also in uni, and now the one that we're doing right now, and plus Comedy of Errors. It didn't really happen, but 8. I'd like to count it. So that's 8.
So if we add Uzi's plays and Vignesh's plays and the plays I was in, then we kind of match Houda. But yeah, my point was like, you know, in our university we have multiple shows of the same production, like 5 shows, right? And
Yeah.
obviously there's this
Yeah.
magic on the opening night of the performance, and there's also this magic in the closing night. But since you're doing essentially the same thing for 5 straight days, does the excitement kind of die, or what's the difference between day one versus day three versus day five?
I don't think so. I don't
Yeah.
think so. Like, I know that it's always that terrifying thing that everyone says you're gonna do the exact same thing every single night. The excitement, or is gonna die, but it really doesn't, because not a single night is the exact same. Like every
Yeah.
single night is always completely different. There are always new stories. There's always something that's happening, one thing that's different, and the slightest difference can make a huge difference in how the entire play carries out. I feel like the first night usually we get on and we're pretty nervous. We don't know what the audience is like. We don't know what's gonna happen. It's the first night. Are we gonna forget our lines? Are we gonna mess up? But then, like, by time we start growing with the audience, we start growing with the show, it becomes a part of us. So every night you're experiencing being this whole person and going through their memories and going through their life. I've never gotten bored, because every night, like, there's always that one person in the back who has never seen the show before and is gonna look at you and be like, oh wow, this is a really good show. So it always has to be upbeat, always has to be like energy up there. And at the end of the day, you're putting a show, and it's always nice to see people's feedback, you know.
Your buddy's giving you some feedback right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. So hey.
It's just properly be like, hippity
Vignesh,
hoppity.
Uzi, you
Love
guys have anything to
rabbits.
add to that?
Uzi, go ahead.
I mean, I would say I completely agree with Huda in the sense it never gets stale because one, at least this is the way I think. First of all, with shows, it's not like film in the sense that since it's live, you have, I feel like, a responsibility to be consistent. Film, you made the film, done, it streams all over the world, and everyone will experience the same thing. You don't have to worry about consistency. With live stuff, yeah, you do. You have to make sure that one day you're not off, you're not this. And personally, my mindset is exactly kind of what Huda says. I always think that there's someone out there, like every night I go, I think there's someone out there who hasn't seen me before, and I'm not gonna let them leave thinking like I did a shit job or anything like that. And the other thing is, if someone is coming who has seen me before, I'm never gonna give them the opportunity to say that, oh, today he was off, or today he was. I keep it. It's like a competitive kind of fire in me that always goes like every night I know there's someone out there who's seen me before, maybe someone who hasn't. I'm gonna make sure that any night they come, even if they come every night, they're gonna say, but he was never off. At least that's kind of the mindset I use before I go on, to make sure I never slack off or do anything like that. So it's never still, it's always like a kind of a war every time I go on. So it's never boring in that sense.
It's like you enter the audition room to get that particular role. You are like unconsciously signing a contract to entertain whoever comes and sees the show. No
Right.
matter what role you get, you can't be overwhelmed at the prospect of knowing that you're going to perform 5 nights, 6 nights, maybe 7 nights in a row. It's like rehearsals set you up for day one, and through rehearsals, it's not just about learning the dialogues, it's not just about blocking your positions. It's about exploring your character as you go through these rehearsals as well. So in day one, yeah, the nerves are high because day one really sets the tone for how the word goes around campus. Because like, if the first night doesn't live up to its expectations, that's how the word is going to go out. Because it's not necessary that on the first night the rest of the night's tickets are sold out. There are still available shows. People are just waiting for the verdict. And for me personally, every day is me exploring the character a lot more in depth within the confines of what you've learned. It's not like you get to add dialogues to it, you get to sway others off from dialogues. The only thing you can do is improvise when something does not happen. You can't add to it. And it's like when the audience comes and sees, I agree with both Houda and Uzi when they say that you need to think like every day there's someone new that comes. See, for example, like during Adam's Family, second day, I just got really sick. Okay, like really, really sick. And
I
was
remember.
very scared until like 2 minutes before the opening song started. I vomited and
Oh my
I
God.
came on stage. I was like, there are people who paid 25, 50 dirhams to come see the show. I was like, and I sang
was
the whole
crazy.
first song with like my thing till here, and I was like, I was singing. I was like, please don't vomit now. I'm like in front of the audience. I see
And
kids.
can I just say, you did an amazing job. You did
But
an
it
incredible job. He was there like a minute. Everyone was at the curtains. We were looking for him everywhere. We were freaking out. We were delaying. He runs. He just like he was in the bathroom. He runs and he's like, okay, okay, I'm ready. He's yellow. He's gonna pass out. He walks in and he's like, hello, everybody. And you did
it
such
was
a good job.
it was so nerve-wracking because for me it's like when you step into that role, I have to disconnect from what happened before me. Like Professor Tassa, he gave me like a choice. We can cancel the show. I was like, I do not want to hear that. I do not want to hear that option. So I step into this, like the whole dynamic of being a thespian, knowing that I want to give entertainment. Uzi said that high you get when you find that the audience is entertained. Like nothing works better, nothing gives you that high when you deliver like a very powerful dialogue, a powerful song, a powerful moment, and the audience just gives you that cosign that you did a great job, either through applause or just cheering, and it never gets boring. Like I assure people who are like into theater, I assure them it never gets boring. Second night, third night, you will want to do more shows. You'll never get tired of doing like just the limited number of shows that you get. So it's just the fun part of going into the whole theater.
So the basically the vomiting was your 8 Mile moment, huh?
Yeah, it was.
He just looks at himself in front of the mirror and he's like, his palms are sweaty, knees weak,
Yeah,
arms
it's
are
like
heavy.
see for me, I keep telling this. For me, it's like I am Vighnesh vomiting, but for like all the lighting technicians sitting up there, I'm in my suit just working. Like, what is wrong with Gomez? Why is he walking on? I'm like,
Almost looks like he's got something in his mouth.
yeah, I'm like,
And does the same apply for like different productions too? Like the excitement, obviously, for the same production for different shows, you guys say that there's always this excitement. But what's the difference between like when you say, "Oh, I did the Adams Family, that was one show, and now I'm doing the Comedy of Errors"? What's like the excitement? Is it the
with
same or what's it?
Uzi, that one spring semester, we both were doing Comedy of Errors and Truest together.
Yeah.
I was equally looking forward to both of them. For like,
Yeah.
for me, I knew how much True West meant to Uzi. Like the passion he brought into that script. Like I heard from Mike also, like he really wanted to get this through, and like to see that passion, I also didn't want to let him down, because it's his vision as well, coming into like how he wants the whole thing to happen. Yeah, guaranteed the whole thing like was ending on like an extremely violent note, and like it got a little bit, little bit the violence
Violence
got a
and
little bit too
Uzi?
gratuitous.
What? There's no relation between those two things. Cleans all the 27 bruises he has on his back. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, it is fun. Like for me personally, I've never had a thing where this production was better, that production was better.
Yeah.
It really is like, for me, every production I need to give my all. It's the same enthusiasm. True West got very rapid very quickly, and it just came hitting on me. Like for me, it was like Comedy of Errors, and like True West is just another kind of thing. And then he's like, True West got preponed. We need to hustle. I'm like, yeah.
Uzi?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it all depends on your attitude. If you're the type of person who you think that whatever I do, I'm gonna give my best, then nothing will ever be sort of like I'm not gonna. I'm excited about this, and if you're someone who says I'm committing to this 100%, then everything will be as exciting, because in both you're putting the most effort and all that sort of thing. And also, I feel like a part of it is, if it has to do with if you're really excited about telling a story, like you love the story, and hopefully you do pick always projects that you love, that you genuinely love. Doesn't matter if others don't like it. If you personally like it, I feel like the excitement will always be there as long as you love the story in that sense.
Houda?
Mhm. Uh, I completely agree with Uzi and Vighnesh. I think every single play is, like Uzi said, a new story that you're going to tell. And it's always, I think I love the most about theaters being able to experience different lives from different points of views. Like I always feel like I feel like that character, and it always gives me some sense of excitement. Like you're seeing the world from another pair of eyes, which is something that's crazy. And just everyone you meet when you're rehearsing, every day, even the days when you get bruised, the days when you get tired, the days where you go home and you're crying because you just stayed up from 7 a.m. till 8 p.m. Every single day is worth it. Every single time, by the end of every single show, I always just sit and reflect. I'm like, oh, I would give everything to just do it all over again. Every single part of it.
You mentioned living through a different character in every production and like seeing things differently through a different pair of eyes. Brings me to my next question, which is there a particular character type that you resonate with, or do you like playing a certain type of character? Houda, we know you like playing stepmoms, but is there any other type of character you like playing?
I mean, I really like playing the villain. That's the most that I love to play. But ever since I came to AUS, the character that I've been playing regularly is always the ballet dancer, or the dancer in general. I think in AUS, or actually ever, the most character that I got attached to was in Adding Machine, Daisy. I don't really know why, but I got so attached to her, where Daisy, she was this girl who, I mean, to me, she had severe depression and her mom used to abuse her. So I remember I would wake up in the middle of the night freaking out because I thought like Daisy's mom is coming in. And then I'd be like, okay, that's scary. And I used to do my hair the way Daisy would do it every single day. And I think like I completely connected to that character, and it was so hard to break up with that character. I remember after I went to Professor Tassa, who's our director, and I told him what's going on, and I'm telling him how much I'm connected to this character. He made me, what closing night, he made me go through the entire university and rip down the posters for Adding Machine. And he told me that this was a cleanse and it is time to like separate yourself from a character. So I had to go through the entire university and rip down all of the posters for Adding Machine to, cleanse yourself and separate yourself from the character.
Vighnesh?
What Huda's saying is very real. Like once you get inside a character, it's very hard to snap out of it. And
Yeah.
for me, that honest first experience was Gomez Adams, because for me until then, I was doing roles that to an extent went through pain, or like in high school I was doing roles like oh, he's a good actor because he's speaking the dialogues loudly, because all my roles were just speeches just screaming into the mic. And
Yeah.
then I just took a leap into some emotional character, and then that jump to being someone who has to make the audience laugh, that was a huge leap for me, because personally I'm like kind of like the in the moment making people laugh. I don't prepare things and do stand up. I'm not that kind of like funny guy. But when I did Gomez Adams, that thing got so much into me that for 2 weeks, I think until now, I still have some of his mannerisms that I do. Sometimes the way he stands, the way he just moves his hand, it's just so weird. And like my dad is like, you still haven't snapped out of it? Because he remembers it very clearly. He came for like 2 nights.
Vighnesh, it's time for dinner when you're an Adam. Stop.
There's some things like I do, and it's just like Professor Tassa made Houda go through like a cleanse, and it's like for me, beyond resonating with the character, I resonate with any character that makes me push my limits. Like for me, I get satisfaction from doing a character that at the end of it, not only do I feel like I have become the person, I also feel like the director's vision is also satisfied. Like it's kind of like actors need to meet that meeting point. Like personally you need to be satisfied, and the director is also should also be satisfied with what you're seeing. And to hear Professor Tasser tell, okay, this was good, lock this in. He never says lock this in. He says, okay, this is good. Explore what you like. Explore beyond
Yeah.
this point. And
Yeah.
that's what a good director does, because he doesn't lock you into one position. Professor, he says that a lot. He's like, once you focus in on something that is your comfort zone, you have to explore within the comfort zone everywhere. Don't make another comfort zone just because this is locked in. So for me, to answer your question like in like the shortest way possible, I resonate with any character that really puts me to like the extreme limits of what I can do, and maybe even pushes it further.
Uzi?
I'd say honestly, when you ask me like what characters I resonate, I think honest for me the first thing that resonates is like good stories. You know, that's really what sort of that's what brings me on that I want to do something when, because for me that's the overall thing is a story, because that's the experience. It's not obviously, you know, story emanates out of character, but I always look at the overall story and how good it is. So in that sense, then I always try to find like a character that I feel you know would be interesting for me to play within that story, you know, serve the purpose there. But sort of also other things, kind of at characters, at times I always try to look to find characters that are as different from me as possible, to sort of challenge myself to see, can I do that, because I want to know how far can I stretch myself. like personally, Mr. Zero was a big stretch from sort of stuff I've done in the past, and really kind of from me. So I was like, I really want to see, can I play this type of character, because it was so, and that was one of the things that was a bit that was the challenge and that was the fun of it, versus kind of like a character like we did the play I did with Houda, Tough Choices. The character is Bob, like this presenter who's like kind of talks and he's like loud, and that was very easy for me to play. That's like that's kind of like how I am. That was very easy to play, but it was still equally fun, because like I said, I really liked the story. So, you know, that's one of the things. It's always, like I said, if it's a character that kind of pushes me to my limits, can I do this thing, and is the story good, and what's the character's place in that story, how does he help, would it be interesting, kind of those things I kind of feel. I don't like to sort of close myself off to this thing, that thing. It's always just, it's kind of like instinct, you know? I just feel like, hey, I really want to do this. Yeah, I don't really pay attention to any patterns or trends. It's just instinct.
Right. Everyone has at least one rehearsal story. Like something goes wrong in a rehearsal, or some weird stuff happens, or something really entertaining. So I have a story I want to share, because I want to see if you guys were in the room when this happened. This involves me and Uzi, actually. But let's go on with, let's start with Vighnesh first for this. Do you have a rehearsal story?
I think I know what you're referring to.
Do you know my story? Okay, hold on for now.
Oh wait, hang
Does
on.
he
I
know
want
the
to
story
hear the
too?
story.
Yeah. Before
Okay,
we
sorry.
start, I want to hear Shawki.
Okay, so here's what happened, right? So we were doing the scene in Comedy of Errors with, you know, the scene with Pinch and then with this. And usually, you know, Uzi is so focused with his characters, and Uzi hardly breaks character because he goes off script. He's very dedicated. He's very focused. You guys know. And so what had happened was, you know, Uzi steps a few steps away from me before he hits me. And I don't know what happened that particular day. Maybe Uzi was going through like some personal problems, or he had a really tough midterm that day, but he kind of miscalculated how far he had to stand from me. And so what had happened was, I was going through a bad day myself, and I was just in the moment, I was just thinking, oh, you know, I gotta get back and I gotta fix these things, my last semester and stuff. And I was just saying my line, and it's like, give me your hand and let me feel your pulse, expecting things to progress as they normally do. And he's like, there's my hand, in his like focused voice, and let it feel your ear. And Uzi just clapped my face, and as he clapped my face, my glasses kind of flew across the
I
studio.
remember this.
And then like less than 1 second, because Uzi never breaks. Less than 1 second, Uzi like, sorry, and the entire studio was dead silent. Dasa had his hands clasped over his mouth. He was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's gonna happen. And in that moment, I just couldn't help but laugh. I was like, okay, this guy's so focused that she actually managed to slap me through during this rehearsal. So, do you remember that, Uzi, by the way?
Yeah. I think it's just that, you know, for like any sort of like combat, whether it be film or stage, you know, there's technique, but kind of you don't want to let like passion or whatever in the moment fumble your
Yeah.
technique, and that's just
Yeah.
something like I always need to work on. So that's just what happened. There was nothing like
Yeah.
no repressed rage or whatever. It was just that, you know, I'm kind of, that's a folly of mine. I need to sort of pay attention to technique even while being in the moment. It's just one of those mishaps where
Everyone in the audience is like,
I think I remember.
and then I was like,
that
this is exactly why Professor Tassa made us all hand in medical insurances for the Abu Dhabi trip. There are 20 people who are going to Abu Dhabi, and there are only 10 people who are gonna make it back alive.
Oh my goodness.
And I know which group I belong to.
yeah.
Were you there in the room when
that
that happened, Houda?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't there.
Vighnesh, you were there. Vignesh-
I was listening
I
to like an
remember.
audio. I was
Shawki.
listening to an audio and I could feel the silence. I was like, and then I think specs are here. I was like, and then
he was listening
what?
to some Weekend, and then the bass dropped. Like, yo, man, this bass is pretty hard. Like, hey, what's Shawki's glasses? Oh. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Houda, what's your story?
I remember Shawki used to get beaten up so much, and like Professor Tassa would look at Uzi and be like, "Okay, you hit him 2 times,"
Yeah.
and then you look at him and you work it up. You're like, 2 times, 2
No,
times.
he's like, no, you know what kind of annoyed me? Which is every time we did the scene, Professor Tassa would ask Uzi, how's he doing? He's like, okay. He's like, oh, my star actor, is his hand okay? Is his fist fine? Is it red? I'm like,
Is your hand
what about
okay?
me? He's like, oh, okay, maybe. And when it got that particular day, when I said, you know, because Tassa's like, hey, maybe just do it 3 times, right? I'm like, yes, 3 times. Let's make sure we know how to count. So 1, 2, 3, and then done. Yeah. But yeah, that was something. Hold up, your story.
My funny rehearsal story also has to do with Uzi. I think it's one of my most embarrassing moments. It was so funny. I don't know if you remember it, Uzi, because you were so locked into character, but it was almost opening night. So at this point, like, I need to get my lines down. There's no space for error.
Which play
Everyone
was
was
it?
there. What?
Which play?
Adding Machine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, everyone was there. Tech was there. The designers were there. Professor Tassa, Professor Isabel, everyone was there. It was like a full house for a rehearsal. And I had this line where Uzi had to lay down on my lap because he was running and he was tired. So I would have to look at Uzi and be like, oh, you look so tired. Why don't you just rest your head on my lap? So I remember I was so overwhelmed.
I think.
And I looked at Uzi and I'm like, you look so tired. Why don't you rest your lap on my head?
And everyone was like, wait, what?
Everyone just bursted laughing. Tassa turned red and he looked at me and he's like, I haven't had a good laugh in years. And I'm just sitting there with my face red and I'm just like, guys, I didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean it
Scene
that way.
takes a different turn when you just shift the words a little bit. I'm like, what?
It was
The next day, the audience doubled basically.
And then after that, I
remember
tried
that.
so hard not to mess that up. Like, when we were actually on stage.
Is this in the scene in the play where you guys go to the afterlife or something? Is this where that
Yeah,
happens?
Yeah.
That's a good story. Vignesh.
Oh, okay. So this is gonna be triple threat because my story also involves Uzi.
Just.
Oh my god. Uzi.
You're always there.
Uzi, see, I'll give you guys a little bit of backstory. Like,
Oh,
I was so excited to get to work with Uzi because he is such like in the theater community he is venerated. AUS theater community he is. Everyone talks
Yeah.
about Uzi, and
Yeah.
I remember when I went into the green room, I was like, guys, I got cast in True West. I'm acting with Uzi, and like I saw a few faces go. I was like, I don't know, he's pretty cool. Like I remember, like after Adam's Family, he came, he congratulated me personally. So that was the first time I met Uzi, and I've seen his posts.
That's how Uzi, he congratulates. Yes.
Look them in.
He's very good.
And, like, it was all very fun. He told like we have to like get ready for a project and everything, and like I was instantly ready to do True West. And the more I got to work with him, the more I realized his passion for theater, which is why when it came to any occasion where he would go overboard, or like if I see him like just
I think
being
I
in
know
character,
what story you're building up
Uh,
to.
I don't complain. Like there are people who are like, hey, don't you have a problem with how ecstatic he is? I'm like, no.
No,
I
it's
mean,
part of
like,
his
I would do
process.
the same. It's his process.
Yeah.
I don't like to disturb it. So, speaking of processes, uh, we had a scene. So like we are learning stage combat, and this is the
The Uzi's
First
teaching
scene.
stage combat?
no. Mike was teaching a stage combat.
Oh,
It's
Mike
like
was
this
teaching. Okay,
scene-
good.
This
Yeah.
this scene involved it was like the first scene. We are brothers, so I'm like the more refined income, very steady income kind of brother, and he's like this low life southern. So I had to have like a first an
Drunk,
American
yeah.
accent, and his southern drunk accent was like impeccable. I was like so drawn to his like, all right, and it was just so fun. Okay, so this one scene involves me offering him money and him taking my like just holding my collar like
Collar,
this.
yeah.
Up till that point, I was so cool with him taking my shirt. Like he took my shirt and I was in character. Professor Mike, he told, like rub it up, like to get the intensity. He rubbed my skin up and he held my skin like this. I was in literal pain. I still remember. I was like, please don't cry, you're a grown man. Okay, okay. I still remember the first time this happened. He got so into character, he threw the chair and he came charging towards me. I'm like, I'm ready for this, bro. Come, like, pull my shirt up. He pulled my shirt, my skin, my hair,
This
everything.
sounds so wrong, dude.
I still remember, like, my skin was here and he was holding onto my skin. I was like, this pains. I shall stay in character. And I didn't complain. I was like, let this happen. Because whenever stuff like this happen, I don't like to break the flow. And it's the same towards the climatic scenes like this, where I inflict violence upon him. He's like, go all out. To a point where one stage rehearsal, he bled from his nose with how violent we reached.
That was
Bro,
actually going
I
to be
really
my
wanted
story.
to see this
Yeah.
play,
I was
man.
there.
What's this play?
Yeah,
What's
you
this
were
play gonna
there.
be like?
It got
This is
an
Uzi's
it
license
got
for
a-
manslaughter, essentially.
It got an 18 plus rating, right? We had a
It's
PG
Yeah, yeah,
rating.
of
yeah,
course.
it was 18 plus.
It was rated R.
um, Uzi was so in, like he was going for it. He was going extreme. Where so Vighnesh you had to like act like you were choking him, right?
I
There's a
was-
scene where you
yeah.
were choking him, and he was
No.
like, you know, when you hold your breath and you force like a lot of pressure in your face. So Vighnesh wasn't actually, you know, choking him, and I was taking a video. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And then the next thing I know, there was blood on the floor. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
is this fake?
Yeah.
I'm
I just
scared.
became witness to a crime.
Like it was very fun. Like my stage experience was that like when he like the stage combat was very clear to me. Like had no problem with him pulling my shirt, pushing me around. But when Professor Mike gave his directions, that's when Uzi went animal instinct on me, and it's like
I absolutely
He pulled it up.
adore
I was-
the way.
and
Yeah,
the-
sorry.
He didn't stop it the first time. He did the second. Professor's like, repeat. We need to get it done. I'm like, I have what? Second time
Yeah.
did the same thing. Third, fourth. I was like, okay. I think I have to get used to my skin going up like this.
Vighnesh started counting the gesture he had left, you know, after that. Okay, Uzi, you've been like a part of all of our stories. So what's your story now? Who beat you up? Where did this pent-up spirit come from?
Well, I don't. Yeah, I think more so. If anything, I'm the one who causes the accidents rather than receiving. But yeah, I mean, the one I was actually going to say was the one where I bleed. Yeah, that was taking it like too far, and I started bleeding from my nose and stuff like that because I was like squealing. But sort of other stuff that I can think mistakes was, you know, I had certain stage combat we had to do for class acting styles, and there's another girl whose name was Houda, not this one, and we had like a big scene.
Which
like
play in
group-
acting styles? Seagull?
No, it was not a play actually. Just like we had to kind of make a skit, you know, and we were rehearsing, and it's like a big goofy like action fight. We slap each other like a couple of times. She punches me and I roll and hit the wall and things like that. And there's one part where I'm like on a piano, like my feet up on the chair, like kind of like sitting like a gremlin. And she's supposed to kind of pick me up and throw me, and I roll on the ground. And she doesn't actually throw me. She just puts her hands and I kind of throw myself. And then one of those times it kind of like really hurt. I like, cause it's like hard floor, but I'm pretty good at like stopping the fall. But one time I just kind of hit my shoulder. I was like, that really hurt. But let's go again anyway. Yeah. I'd say other than the nosebleed one, that would be like a painful rehearsal mistake or anything like that.
There's another story that came to my mind. I think Houda, you might remember this. This is during one of the early rehearsals for the Zanis. So we were doing the birth scene, right, in Comedy of Errors, and there were a lot of different changes that were happening. Like sometimes the young Amelia was being changed before it was Maria, then it was Houda. Then sometimes the person who's delivering the babies being changed and stuff like that. So there was a lot of babies being tossed around. So I think Professor Tasso was, we were spending too much time on this. So it's like, oh no, guys, this is how we do it. We're spending too much time on this. Here's how we do it. Okay, so you stand there, deliver the baby. So you say one, wah, so he catches the baby doll right in his hand, and he catches the baby doll, he throws it, and the next baby doll he catches it, and he realizes it doesn't have a head. so during the birthing scene, the baby flew so high that the head got detached from the body, and we had to keep going with the rehearsal. And the next scene involves me and Houda picking up the babies and be like, oh, he has your eyes, or he has your hair, and Houda's looking at the decapitated head and be like, oh, he has your eyes. The baby doesn't have a head.
He had.
I remember it was so funny. It was so funny, and I would like look at Shawki and be like, "You're a terrible father. You can't even keep a head on." I'm just looking at the time like,
hey, you delivered the baby, okay?
Okay, yeah.
But
it was really funny. It was really funny.
So, what change have you guys noticed in yourself, like before you pursued theater and after you've pursued theater, if any? Oh, serious. Everyone's quiet.
Like confidence. Yeah, confidence for sure. I remember, like I said, the first I did this first show like when I was 14, and that was really like in front of all these strangers, 300 people or something like that. That was, and I had kind of put it in my mindset, and like that year I was like grade 10, I was like 14 or something. I'm like, look, I want to do this professionally when I grow up. So I need, and I'm like super shy, like so shy I can't even like ask the teacher to go to the bathroom, because then like I'm like, oh, when you raise your hand, kind of everyone's looking at you, right? You're like, could you interrupt? I was that shy. And I had the approach like, I'm just gonna do something super crazy to gonna get myself out of this shyness, like go in front of 300, 400 people. And really, yeah. And sort of doing those things again and again, even though it honestly, the kind of the social anxiety doesn't go at just one go. Like even to this day, I still have like inside I'm really, really shy. But it definitely gave me so much confidence to speak in front of people. Like I'm really good at sort of putting up, even though I'm super shy, but I'm really good at sort of putting up this kind of persona that I'm like super confident and do this and that. Even, and that helped me so much even in public speech presentations, where like I would get the top marks or anything. People look like you're so comfortable, like you're just sitting there or anything, but it's actually a lot of just practice. And I think the main thing is that just practice really also is the key to confidence, because like if you've done something so many times, like 10,000 times, why would you be nervous to do it 10,001th time? Because you've done it so much. So like almost like working hard kind of eliminates that fear. I think so. Yeah, I'd say definitely confidence, because it forces you to stand up in front of people and just get better at it.
I agree entirely. Vighnesh?
For me, upon pursuing theater, like when I discovered my interest towards it, and like it kind of like transitioned itself like an interest to an obsession to an addiction. Like the stage is like an aphrodisiac kind of thing for me.
Yeah.
So
okay,
for me,
I didn't say that, but yeah.
For me, yeah, it is. Like for me, I really having withdrawals now. Like thinking, I want to go on stage, I want to act.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so
Yes.
crazy. So,
Yeah.
for me, one thing I like after pursuing theater is like I love misleading people. Like my best experience was like after doing Gomez Adams, like that character, and then I change into a jacket and I just come stand with the audience to see if they'll notice. And like I still remember after the first night, I did the role and I came out. I started standing with the audience members. They were all like complimenting Hamza and everyone. I'm just like, yeah, he was so good, right? I'm like, yeah. And then Hamza's like, come here. This is the father. I'm like, and then everyone's like. I love seeing that reaction. It's just because
What? Some random guy just said, "This is the father." Well, I didn't get that.
because I'm the father. Like Gomez is like the father.
Gomez.
Oh, I thought some random guy is like, "Come here, he's the father." I'm like, what?
Oh my God.
Like different
I don't
story
know, man.
entirely.
You
Star
talked about
Wars.
aphrodisiacs on stage, and now you're talking about being go
Oh
on.
no.
I just love me
I
and
don't know.
Shoei's reaction. Like you were
Yeah, he's
talking
like-
and
he
Uzi
talked
was like
about-
listening,
he-
and then me and
yeah.
Shoei were just like,
He's like,
What?
it's like an aphrodisiac to me, and I love misleading people. And this guy came to me and like, "You're the
Oh
father."
my
I'm like, I don't think this episode's gonna air, man.
I should choose my words carefully.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
So, because by default, I'm a person who's like very conserved to myself. Like I don't put myself out there. Like Uzi told, that shyness is it's still there, but to an extent you can curb it for a while and like just be someone else and just put yourself out there. So
Yeah.
upon pursuing a lot of theater, it really gave me like a lot of confidence that I never knew I had. Like you can just go out there and just be yourself and be someone else while being yourself, striking that balance. And it is just so much fun. It's just made me look at theater in a different light, because I assure you, until about 8th grade or something, for me theater was like the peasant's profession, because that's how the common verdict is around it. Like acting is like the very last resort, doesn't make money, but I sincerely believe if you put your mind and your work into it, it never feels like work. It's always a learning experience. Like that's what Uzi taught me. Like I would actually credit at least like learning a lot more about theater to Uzi. Like even with how eccentric he is, he really knows some really wonderful insights about acting, and he's helped me a lot in that actually.
Listen, Vighnesh, you don't have to force yourself to say those things. He can't hurt you anymore. You're not in the same. You're not in the same space.
As a whole,
no,
you
no.
are saying.
We all agree with you. With your opinion.
no,
It's a
it's true.
gunfight.
Uzi has taught me a lot as well.
Houda?
I think for me, theater has given me purpose and a home. Like after theater, I have now purpose and I have a home. So I used to live in Syria for 12, 13 years, and then after that, after the war, we had to move to Lebanon. And every year in Lebanon, we were waiting for the war to end, so we kept moving from house to house. I moved from school to school, so my life hasn't ever been really stable, even now, moving to university, and now, like, ever since we decided Lebanon was home, and we finally bought a house, and it wasn't renting anymore, now Lebanon is down to ashes. So it's just like wherever I go, I never felt like I belonged. I never felt like I had a home. I was always going from school to school. I never had that one house where I had memories in or I grew up in. Everything felt like I was a tourist. So theater just felt like now I'm home. Like as long as I'm on that stage, I'm home. As long as I'm like under the spotlight or but just on that stage, it just feels so safe. It feels so stable. It feels like this is where I belong. This is the only place in the world where I really belong. And it's given me a sense of purpose. I've done theater for so long, but I think it's in university when I decided that I want to continue and do it as a profession. Before that, I was like, oh, like Vighnesh said, it's just a hobby. I would never pursue it. My parents will kill me. But after I entered university, I talked to my parents. I'm like, this is my calling. This is my purpose. I don't feel like, nothing feels like when I'm doing or acting or being on stage. And this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I think I'm very lucky to have found my purpose and my passion at a very young age. So yeah, and it did give me a lot of confidence. It actually shocks me that I'm sitting here with the best actors that I've met, and we're all like shy on the inside. And I
Yeah, I was
also
gonna say
have,
the same thing. Yeah, I
yeah,
was surprised. I was like,
it's
okay, because
crazy.
it would never have crossed my mind that someone like Uzi would say, "I'm quite a shy guy," or someone like Vighnesh
Yes,
is like, "Yeah, I have this anxiety," and you're saying the same thing. I'm like, what?
yeah.
Oh, like it's
I
kind of crazy, surreal how
it's
people
so
who are shy
weird.
can be really good performers. I think they just have that.
I think it's
I
like
guess,
we want to express what's inside of us, I suppose. I'm not really
yeah,
sure, but I have general anxiety, and just pushing myself, feeding the adrenaline rush. There's just something about it that's different, you know?
yeah.
So confidence, purpose, a home, like theater is giving me everything that I could ask for, you know?
Okay, we're down to our last question before the exercise. This is for anyone who's watching, whether they're in university or someplace else. What advice would you give to someone who is considering doing theater?
Say go for it. Don't don't let like the common misconceptions and the usual social stereotype of it slow you down from doing it, because yeah, there are a lot of people who are struggling making a living out of it. Because me personally, I came into doing English courses. Like for me, AUS wasn't my first choice, and I would pretty much say exactly AUS is like I still remember my parents coming to AUS, seeing this place, like, oh, this place is bigger than a house. You're definitely getting enrolled here, and so it's like for me, I was looking forward to going to UK and pursuing my drama courses, because I got like a chance to do like a semester in acting school, and I was really looking forward to that. I never for the life of me thought that there was a performing arts program in AUS. Like I remember walking inside
Same.
the arts building during the whole seeing the university first time, like, what is this odd stage doing in the center of the building? Not realizing that it was foreshadowing me
What's
November
about to come?
like 7th showing up on
What's this
stage.
odd thing going? And he puked after that.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like, for me, I found, like Houda said, a true calling, a home in doing theater, and as long as you, it should go beyond just considering theater. It's like looking at a pamphlet and being like, oh, theater, this looks nice. No, it's not like that. You need to truly feel theater. You need to understand what it's like to feel every emotion, not just of the character you're doing, of just what is your emotion doing that character. What do you go through? What is your inside battles, your conflicts, your bursting of emotions? If you feel those things, to those people I would tell, consider theater. But for the people who are like, okay, it seems like a viable option, for people like that I would just say, look for interest where you find your home in, and then go for it.
Uzi.
Well, I'd say, if you're someone who's like you're kind of exploring, you're not sure what you feel about it, how you feel about it. I'd say kind of one couple of things. Like one, try to keep in mind what are you trying to get out of this. I feel like that helps with anything. If you're going into any class, any program, any project, trying to think what do you want to get out of this, because it kind of gives you this laser lock on what to look for and how to go. So if you're saying, I want to do theater because I want to be more comfortable expressing myself in front of large crowds, good, but keep that in mind so that it not only kind of anchors you to push through when things are difficult, but it also gives you a sense of purpose throughout, like what you're looking for, what you're trying to achieve. And also another thing I'd say is sort of with theater, like especially if you're acting or whatever, is be bold. I think that's one of the things I'd say, the kind of thing that can really detract from an actor giving the best that they can is not being bold, is being shy. Not really, like I see so many times, you like a stage reading or in so many classes and whatever, like, oh, should I say that word, or like they have to
Yeah.
do something that's potentially
Like
embarrassing.
embrace
They
it.
kind of like,
Yeah.
they ask about it, and that's just like, not only in terms of, I'd say, in social situations, that's a turn off anywhere, whether it's on stage or even in real life. People who are kind of like hesitant, like, so just make a decision, even if it's wrong or whatever. It'll still come across as much stronger if you just commit and make. And I actually have a really a funny story where I kind of learned this for myself, not just in to do in life, but also especially in acting, especially. So I was like, I think 15. So I done one play, the 1984 George Orwell, which was the first thing I did. So now I was, auditioning for these various like community theaters and all that, and I was like, even though I was like a kid, I would kind of like audition for things that are even not for kids, because hell, even the experience is worth something, and you never know. I just do it. I didn't care. Like, I'll get something out of it anyway. And I had to audition. I auditioned for Dracula. I can't remember what theater it was, but so I went to this place, maybe a university, one evening, 'cause that where the audition was being held, and I had to play. I can't remember the character's name, but he's like some doctor who lives there, and he has a wife and stuff like that. So, and I actually was going in there first to audition for Dracula, but the guy was kind of like, "Oh, we'll just switch roles and everyone play everyone at once." I was like, "Oh, I was not prepared for that." I was like, "Oh crap." Okay, he's like, "Okay, so you play the husband." I'm like, "Okay," and here's your wife. And first of all, like everyone there is like way older than me, so I'm like 15. Everyone there is like 25 or around that. So I was like, okay. And so my wife was this lady who was probably like 25 or something like that. I was like 15, and she was really hot, like really. And she's like, all of a sudden it's her wife, like, oh, and I'm already like nervous because I'm like, oh, she's like so pretty and stuff, and she has to be my wife. Like, oh, I just met her like a second ago, and we're
And we
in
the
like
method
this
actors, you never know.
Yeah.
yeah, and we were like in this touchy feely scene. I was like, oh, what the hell? And I remember, but as soon as he was like, go, I was still like kind of like, oh, what the hell? But she was so committed. It was like the way she kind of like, she grabbed my hand, like she grabbed and was like coming close
Uzi,
to
a
me,
quick
like,
question. I don't want to interject. Quick question. Did you
yeah.
rest your head on her lap?
No, 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 it didn't go that way. It didn't go that
Okay,
way. No,
okay,
no.
yeah.
But like, so she was so committed, and the way she did it was as if she was so like comfortable with me, as if like she knew me for so long, and it was so weird. And I remember walking away from learning that lesson, like, wow, that's how you should be that bold, to just commit and do things. I learned, and from that point on, I never ever kind of made that mistake again. And first, it just makes you so much more stronger as a person and actor, to be bold and kind of do things, just do it. I think that attitude. And if you're someone also who's going to theater seriously, I'd say a couple things is read a lot. Knowledge is really power, and that's what makes you better. So read a lot about it, do a lot of classes, watch a lot of videos, and most of all, practice. So try and do as many auditions, as many shows, as many skits as possible, and that'll really bring you success ultimately.
Houda?
I mean, keeping everything in mind that Uzi and Vighnesh said, because it's 100% true, I would definitely tell the person to go for it and to do it. And I would say, I know that it's scary, and I know that we live in a society where it's not necessarily accepted or it's looked down upon, but I've had this conversation before. So many people who came up to me and they told me, oh, but like, what, I mean, I want to do it, but like my parents would never accept, and I don't know what, is it a respectable job? I mean, entertainment isn't that important, but I mean, I love it, and entertainment is so important. Don't tell me entertainment is not important. You would all be crying your eyes out in this pandemic if there was no entertainment. And it's not only that, you're telling a story, you're teaching lessons, it's something else. And we do have enough engineers, enough doctors and architects and all of that.
Vighnesh and me simultaneously nodded our head.
Yes.
Yeah, go on, please. Yeah, we're with you, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have enough of these, and what we need more are storytellers, like more of humans exploring their passion, humans who aren't afraid, like Uzi said, humans who are bold. Just it, be brave enough and be strong enough to go pursue what you love, and I don't know. I know most people don't really agree with this, but I completely agree with it. Do what you love, and you'll never have to work a day in your life.
Yeah.
I was just sorry, I'm spawning. I was just looking at Vignesh's camera the entire time, even after we composed ourselves because Vignesh is like, yeah.
I am with you.
Wait,
100%.
are you electrical, Vignesh? Are you electrical?
No, I'm just
Then?
very much fascinated by what she said, because that is something that needs to be said to
No,
every
what
person.
engineer are you? What engineer are you?
Me, I'm an English
Yeah.
major.
You're an English
You
major. I thought you were an
are?
engineer, bro.
Yeah.
Me too. I
No
thought you were an
way.
engineer as well.
What?
Yeah, I think
clearly
you're
said
electrical
I'm
engineer.
Stereotyping.
Hey, no, I heard this. People like, yeah, even Vignesh is an engineer. I'm like, oh, cool. There's a lot of
Yeah.
engineers here.
No, he's it. He
I'm an
told me. I
engineer
knew
of
early on.
language.
Engineer.
Oh, I'm the only engineer here.
Oh. Going through personal
Yes.
dilemmas.
Yes.
Uzi, what's
Qualified
your major?
computer scientist. Yeah.
Mine's finance.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, I
So,
really
anyone
like.
who's outside in theater.
Hmm?
I'm like, it's basically anyone who's not necessarily majoring something in the creative field, but still has a passion. So like finance, engineering, different background, but still
Yeah.
in the field.
Right.
You were
You know,
saying
like
something?
I keep telling people. Oh yeah, Uzi, you were telling something.
Yeah, I mean, what I was saying is, I feel like Houda said something very important. You know, people who kind of who say, "Oh, what's the big deal about entertainment and these things?" And I'll say it like this, and it's so true that many people just don't know this. See, first of all, entertainment, it's storytelling. Okay, it's not you. That's the most important thing, and the thing that really separates humans from other animals is their ability to create imagined realities, and I'll tell you why. Like chimps can, if like they can't do any sort of Planet of the Apes type crap, like come together and like let's take over. The reason why is that they don't
It's
know how to
together.
Give
unite
another year.
themselves.
If you're going to the vaccine, that's going to happen.
No. It's they can't do that, and the reasons why humans are able to do that is they are able to create imagined realities. So even like, I mean, countries, they're not really anything real. Like India, there's nothing India. It's just there's land and whatever. This whole story, and you'll see many times even the history of a country. Many things are actually not very accurate, but they just say it as such because it's a stronger story. And the power of stories is so immense. Like I said, these countries, or like you have clubs or teams, they're nothing real. They're just fabricated imagined reality. Even money is an imagined reality. Like what? Money is only worth anything because we all say that it is worth something. If everyone in the world collectively decided, hey, money isn't worth anything, it would be worth nothing. We invest in money because we have trust in the system that it is worth something, but otherwise you can't use it to make things or whatever. It's only because of trust. It's an imagined reality. And the power of story is like, you might meet someone, you're in UAE and you're from Germany, you meet another German, you already feel like maybe some sort of connection, you feel like you're on the same team, and that's all because of the story of Germany, of this country. It's an imagined reality, and that's how powerful it is. I mean, people die for their country and all these things, even though it's not really a real thing, kind of made up in a sense. That's the power, and that's really what you. So as when you're doing like anything in entertainment, you're exercising the thing that make humans the greatest species on the planet, is this ability to tell imagined stories, and it's so powerful. That's how we were able to sort of unite the world. So you're exercising then, I think. So it's nothing to. And what do people do all the time? When people get together, they tell each other stories. What did you do this day? Who did you meet at dinner, at campfires? All they're doing is telling stories. So, and when you see movies and all, that's just a professional storytelling in a sense, planned out and all. That's the only difference. But that's all they do is tell each other stories. They're obsessed with it. So to look down upon it is kind of stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
100%.
Vignesh, you wanted to say something too?
Yeah, I lost that train of thought. I was so fascinated by Uzi's Independence Day speech, and I was just
Yeah,
like,
he was doing Fight Club vibes. He's like,
Yeah.
money is just money because we are like, man, yeah,
the
my
moment
Tyler Durden
Tyler
moment is
Durden.
here.
the moment he disbanded the system with like chimps, I was like, apes together strong. I was just
Apes
like-
together, apes together strong, and then that that Last Supper imagery is
Oh my
melted
God.
Caesars.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I do agree with like Uzi. I've seen like people like I've seen this one post which accurately describes like together what Uzi and Huda said. It's like, do not look down upon the arts while also reaping the benefits of enjoying them.
Very
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Do
So
not
true.
glorify it as something that you can't do while also paying to watch it, to
Right.
enjoy it. It's like you would have someone who will pay thousands, like thousands of dollars to go to watch like a Hamilton concert and then come out like admiring the actors, admiring the stage design. Oh, Hamilton is oof, chef's kiss. They come out and then they say to someone on the road like, you can't do acting, it's not a viable profession. That is like the double standard that I really do not
Yeah.
like. We
So
all
true.
engage in some form of
So true.
storytelling. Like Uzi said, we pay for things, like we pay for entertainment. So if there are people who want to provide that, why are we looking down upon it?
Yeah.
Very true. Very true. We're gonna do an improv exercise now, right? Because I feel like
Ooh.
a lot of us have this void in ourselves with everything that happened since March. Everyone wanted to get a chance to be on stage. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but this is probably the
Hopefully
closest thing you can
soon.
get to exercising your acting muscles. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna provide the three of you hypothetical situations, and I'm gonna put a timer, and I'm gonna tell you to start and stop, and I'm gonna provide the next scene. Okay?
Okay.
Sounds good? Okay.
Okay.
So you guys ready for your first scene?
Yep.
Okay. So a person is going for a job interview, but the person doesn't realize that the job interview is for satanic cult. Okay? Three,
So who
two,
are we
one,
though?
start.
Who are we? Who
You
are we?
decide. You decide. You guys.
I'm in a satanic cult in. Oh my god! I thought this was for the position of CEO of Apple. Oh my
But
god!
how are you stupid? I mean, first of all, you're going on what is that web? You went on Craigslist and you thought you're gonna get a position of CEO
Excuse
of
me.
Apple. I mean, how? Like, were
Hello.
you
I
high?
thought
Where did-
I
No,
thought
no.
we were
What?
gonna tell him that we're doing the Satan. Uzi, I thought we were going to sacrifice him. We talked about this. Don't tell him. Just take him to the back. Just take him to the back. It's fine. It's fine. We'll do better next time.
No better
What?
next time. You. No, she just you know, we did kind of substitute DMT yesterday. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Nothing. She's stupid. You should shut your mouth. You're still high on DMT, so just shut your mouth. Just don't even listen to her. I know. So yeah.
What am I
Uh,
doing here?
No. You
You are here to get
You just-
sacrificed. We
No,
are
sh-
cleansing you.
I don't know what she's saying. Listen, just come with me. Just ignore her. Let's go to the thing. Where is it exactly? What time? What time? It doesn't matter. Let's just
Which hour?
no blah blah.
I-
Let's just go and get a
Just-
snack and go on the way there.
Just 5 minutes back, I was a cashier at McDonald's and I got a message telling you have been selected to become the CEO of Apple. And here I am, and now you're sacrificing me. God damn it! I gave you 10 nuggets in the 8-nugget meal.
Okay, that was really good. I'm going to do the next scene now. Okay, a couple is having a fight at a restaurant while the waiter is trying to get their order. Go.
Sir, madam, what would your order be?
My
Well-
order would be something that is edible. Does this look edible to you?
I would like something that is, compatible with each other for a change.
Wine and
That's really
pasta?
funny. That's really funny. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? Why are you getting all nervous? What?
Wine and pasta compatible with each other.
Listen,
What?
you don't talk about what's compatible, okay? You and your freaking mom are what's not compatible with me, all right? Okay, you're just freaking both selfish and rude. So don't talk about compatible.
We sell shellfish, but it's allergy.
Dude, shut up. I'm not talking to you.
I
talking to
I
you.
don't care what you're talking about. You know what? I think I should have listened to my brother when he told me that you were a waste of time. Just like our waste of time.
Your
sitting
brother is
here.
a waste of time. He's a waste of air. He doesn't even have a brain.
Do you know, I would rather go with this guy than ever be with you.
Go ahead. Maybe you can have some selfish. Go ahead. Go have something compatible. Go.
Yeah, well, at least
I
he
don't
will
care.
give me some nice food for once.
You're really gonna talk about serving nice food? That shit that you cook every night, and you're gonna talk about serving good food?
It would be
Really?
nice if you tried
Really?
for once. If I eat cup noodles one more time, God help me.
We serve cup and noodles separately.
Shut up! I don't care what you serve. Just shut
really
up.
Good. That's really good. Okay, next scene. A robbery goes wrong.
Oh,
Damn it,
crap.
Jonathan! I told you the getaway car was an ambulance, not an actual ambulance.
How am I supposed to know? You don't explain anything. You're just like, oh, this is an easy job, easy cash, and then we're gonna go to an ambulance.
We're supposed to send
Hello,
Mario
excuse me.
5 million.
Guys, so 911 is the number for like who? Because I just
What?
called them and I think they can pick us up and take us to the house now.
God damn it!
What did you give her before this
we
job?
wanted a car. 911 is on
What
their
did
way.
you
They're
give her
gonna
before
take
this job? Did you give her a medication?
medication?
Did you
For
give her a
what?
medication?
I gave her a
Education?
milky bar.
I
It was
am
a milk
educated.
chocolate bar.
Why would you bring
I
her
did
on the
not-
job when you don't even freaking give her medication? That's the only time she's useful. No, she's useful.
I'm very
I gave her
useful.
a milky bar.
Oh my god.
I gave her a milky bar spiked
Milk?
with oh.
Milky
They're
bar? Are we
calling
going to
the
Starbucks?
police. They're calling the police. What are we gonna
I
do
think
now?
I-
There he goes. There's the paramedic. There he is. He's running. He's calling the police. You're obviously looking at these freaking stupid three crazy people shouting on the street while the alarm is ringing. What's the
Jonathan,
escape
we were
route?
supposed to send Mario $5 million. Instead, he's gonna get a 35-year-old man who's been stabbed by a seesaw. Explain
Seesaw.
that.
I
You
don't know
stupid.
why I'm on a seesaw.
Why are you talking about what? We need to leave now. Give me a solution. What were you talking about Mario right now? Are you stupid?
Martha,
Get someone. Hello.
Why did you
Do
dial?
you still have Lester? Do you still have Lester number? Are you
I
stupid?
think, guys, I think those men in the blue uniforms are coming to help
Oh
us.
God! Come on, Jonathan.
That's
Call Lester right now.
That's good. Scene. That's really good. Okay, I have this other one. Oh, the timer's run out. Okay. So 3 scientists have finally found the vaccine to COVID-19, right? But they're arguing over which one of them has to test it on themselves. Go.
I can test this. I am married to my dog, and we have a wonderful life together. I can't risk my life for him. Please.
Easy. I think
I
we should
agree. I
test
think
this on
Houda. I think
Vighnesh.
Houda should do it. I think Houda should do it
Why?
Yes, I do agree.
because
I'm
because you probably have it. You know, you probably have it. That's why. I mean, you always all the time are
how
freaking
can I? Vighnesh is
because
the
you're
one
always going to
married his
freaking
dog.
Starbucks and I think she should. I mean, let's be reasonable. Let's think. You should probably test a vaccine on someone who probably has the virus, and I think that's what I mean. First of all, do
You know, I
do you ever see her with the mask actually on her nose? She's always the stupid people who have the mask right here. You know, she should actually
You know
put
what
like
I think? I
should put a
think-
red ball and green hair to complete the
I think
look
you
of the
talk too
Joker that she
much.
actually is. I mean, so she goes everywhere like that. She literally
Anyways.
does everything that you're supposed to not do. She does that. She keeps the mask
I
here.
think we should just
She
give
scratches
you the
her
vaccine to
face
shut
while
you
she's
up, buddy.
outside. Oh yeah, what were you saying, Uzi? Oh yeah. She probably has it, and she's probably just asymptomatic. So I think she should take it. Let's be honest.
Okay, I have a solution. I have a very smart solution. Okay? I say we go and race for it.
What race?
We race for it. We
What,
go
on
and we
foot
race.
or in car? Like,
What?
on foot or
In
how do you-
car, obviously. Why would you even ask on foot? There's something called social
That's not
distancing.
fair.
And I rest my
I have to
case. You're the
shitty
one who
rent a
should
car.
take
That's not
the
fair. Yeah, she just knows this because
deal
she's
thing.
freaking got her stupid.
Time. That was good, guys. That was really good. Was that a Trump impression by the Vighnesh? I'm curious.
I was
got
like,
a Trump impression too.
American.
I was doing just the hand motion. Voice was different. I'm like not here for like political correctness.
I'd actually like to say one thing about improv. I think just like kind of couple of tips I feel interesting would be, one is to, I'd say don't shut down the situation. I feel like this is the biggest kind of amateur mistake, is you see someone, they're like, so for example, if I'm doing with Vighnesh and I'm like, whoa, Vighnesh, there's a dead body in the floor, what do we do? And he's like, no, there isn't. No, there isn't. Like, why would you contradict me?
That's actually
How
an
is this
episode
gonna
in The
work?
Office. I don't know if you
Yeah.
watched The Office, but that's actually an
No,
episode
I
where
haven't. Yeah, it's like, I don't shut down, like don't try to contradict each other. More so jump off each other. If he says there's a dead body, build on that. Don't shut things down. I think that would be the most, and
See, like,
try not to think too much. Just
with the
go.
involvement of like three characters in the improv scene, it really gives like some added gravitas. Like when you said, like I gave like the situation like $5 million and Mario's gonna get a dead body. You're like, what are the paramedics doing here? And then Houda comes in like she's spiked with cocaine or something, and then she's giving off her impressions and everything, and we're just building off of this confusion. So like, an improv really works. But like, I agree with what Uzi said, and I'll admit to it. I am like number one notorious for doing that half of the time, because sometimes I really can't build on some situations. Like my mind just, like I'm saying something and then like Uzi will say something, like he said Craigslist and I like shut down. I was like,
You mean do
And I-
Bizzle?
exactly that. I was like, should I say Dubai? I'm like, Craigslist. I'm like, I've seen this. I was like so shut down. Like, I am like completely. I agree to that. What he said. You just have to like keep building on like bizarre scenarios and just
I
just
wish
have
we
fun
could do
with it.
more improv. I feel like we don't practice it enough in like
It's fun.
here
Really.
in university.
Keep spitballing, huh? Okay. Okay, so let's say that there's a. I can hear Uzi. Did you say something?
Telling like there's people in my room.
Okay. Okay, so there's a breakup happening right now, and the person is trying to dodge getting broken up with, and it just turns into chaos when this third person shows up. Go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like
Did I
there's-
walk in on something?
I can't
Uh,
do this. I really can't. All right. You spend a lot of time on the TV looking at David Hasselhoff. Why?
I'm looking at, viable solutions to what you would look like. I mean, for surgery, I'm helping you.
So you're completely dismissing the fact that you have to deal with a third nipple? Is that why?
No, I am helping you. Look, I think we're perfect for each other. I help you look better by looking at other people, to see how you
look
look.
like shit.
Excuse me, what are you doing here?
What, yeah. Are you okay? Are you having a stroke?
I don't.
Can I help you?
Wait a second.
Hey, you do
You're
look.
the-
You do look a lot at Hasselhoff. Yeah, you're right. She does.
You're the receptionist from
Yeah,
the clinic.
yeah.
You're the receptionist from the clinic. I went there for an appointment to remove the third nipple. Don't lie. You followed me here from the hospital. Don't lie.
But
I'm scared. You know what? I think that we should stay together because I think this man is trying to kill me. I think you shouldn't break up with me right now at all.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Are you serious?
Why?
You should protect me. He's trying to
Why
kill
would
me.
I? Why?
You.
He
What
followed
should
you.
Honestly, this bitch crazy. You should break up with her, like right now. Like
How could
right.
you let strangers tell you what to do?
I trust anyone whose last name is Schinkelberger. For your information, that's his last name. I trust him with my life.
Yeah.
He's named after the most unique name in all of Austria, and I trust him.
Fine. Then
This man
let me
knows.
break it to you, but me and okay.
That was good. That was good. I want to try one improv. So someone just suggest
Yes,
something.
please.
Okay.
So who's gonna suggest?
Huda, you want to suggest? You were saying?
Yeah, I'll do the suggestion. I really wanted to see you three guys. There is a business meeting, and all of you are battling the idea to release a social media platform but one of you guys wants to release an adult video website.
So guys, I don't know what's wrong with Furry Hub. You know, it's a big thing, and people are like gonna get into it. We're gonna make trillions of dollars. So what's the problem? Like, why are you guys fighting me on this?
Because
Because
it
we
doesn't make
are-
any sense.
Of
And
course
we
it
are
makes
a
sense. There's
kid's
a bunny
sell
right there
store.
behind one of our business meetings. There's a bunny. You're telling me furries aren't gonna make sense? There's a bunny right there.
We are a kid's
It's for kids.
store. We sell
It's for kids.
toys.
We need
They
to
watch
expand-
Evan
Wait.
Tube and the freaking that little kid who opens stuff up. They don't watch Furry Hub.
Okay, first of all, you seem to know a lot about what kids watch and what they don't watch, so you're not the one to talk.
Oh,
And
so like-
secondly,
so like
we gotta
a job or
expand.
anything.
We gotta expand our businesses in this pandemic cursed economy. We need to get more money, man. And FurryTube is the way. We have bunnies, we have cats, we have dogs. We have dogs who look like bunnies. We have bunnies who look like cats. We have cats who look like bunnies who look like dogs. We have everything. What is so wrong about this, guys? Don't you want to be rich?
No,
Why would
not
any
like that.
self-respecting adult buy that kind of stuff there?
Mhm.
It's for kids.
Listen, there's a king for everyone. You know, there's not judging anyone, but there's a king for everyone.
That doesn't matter. That would just even ruin our existing customer base. How do you think parents?
100%.
Are they,
Who
Please,
hired
please
this
stop,
guy?
because I don't want to. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about furries anymore. Just stop. Just stop. I don't want to talk about furries
I
anymore.
did not
God.
expect Shawki to say furry hub and have the rabbit pop up at the exact minute. That
Yeah, I was coincident. That was good. No,
I'm not
or the
arguing,
rabbit.
But a
has
rabbit
power.
is just chilling in my room.
I think it heard it and he's like, I am the
Is it
dog,
furry
as the
tube?
bunny,
Do
as
you know
the
the
cat, as
ears?
the-
The ears popped up furry tube. Okay. Another one.
I got a situation.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, a professor is sort of teaching these two students a lesson after they've broken school rules for like the billionth time. This teacher has had enough at these two students. Go.
This is why.
Okay,
you
listen,
could burn
listen,
down-
Uzi, hey, Uzi, listen up, okay? You can't just pull your pants down and show your pink underwear, okay? We've had girls complain about this, and it's just not acceptable in this educational institution.
It was your idea.
No, it wasn't my idea. I'm
I
punishing
was
you for this.
there.
I'm the principal.
I was there. I was there in class. I remember you telling to him, please get pantsed. I remember that very well.
Yeah, see,
Yeah, but
you're
that's
a
after we
witness,
got
yeah.
in trouble.
Look,
Um,
I agree with, what's your face? What's your face? I don't even know you because you flunked like 3 classes. So what's your face?
My name is Bill.
Look,
Bill.
Miss Houda, it was Shawki. He's the one. Pull your pants down. It'll be so funny. We'll charge people like $5.
Miss
so we'll
Houda,
make
I'm a
you-
principal, okay?
wasn't me.
I don't watch kids and I don't think about kids in that way, okay? I work at home, I go home, I go to furryhub.com and then I spend the time and then that's it.
Miss Houda,
That's
are you
actually a
going to
business
let this
website.
happen? The head of this institution watches animal sex. Please explain
Oh,
that.
no, who said Furry Hub is out? It's like Pet Society, like Club Penguin.
I just got the job yesterday. So,
Okay, bro.
That's- it's just like,
I broke her
this is the
character.
weirdest job. This is the
When
weirdest
she
job
came and
interview
she's
ever.
like,
Uh,
I was a librarian until yesterday, and now I'm
Houda, give the three of us a situation, and then we can call it a day.
okay, so the three of you are at a restaurant, and one of you guys is actually trying to rob the restaurant, and you have a gun, and the two others have no idea, but they're gonna try and stop it.
All right, listen, everyone. This is some Pulp Fiction shit. I am going to rob all y'all, so you're going to shut your mouth, and you're going to dump the wallet.
What happens at the
Into
end
the
of
bag.
Pulp Fiction?
What
So this is
happens?
Breakpoint. We don't tolerate that here.
Yeah.
You listen, you ain't going to tolerate jack shit if you don't shut your mouth.
What happens at the end of Pulp Fiction?
Well, you're never going to know what happens if you don't freaking shut your mouth and put the money in the bag.
This is
Isn't Pulp Fiction the
Breakpoint.
one with the Kaiser Soze thing? That's Pulp Fiction. The Kaiser Soze
Yeah.
thing. That's Pulp Fiction, right?
No,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
usual. That doesn't matter.
And this is breakpoint.
Do you
What is
want
doing
to
robbing
live?
this place?
Yeah, like
Do
you
you-
want what do you want? You want kilo chicken or you want the pasta?
Yeah.
Oh
Because
my
there's a big line, man.
Yeah,
my
man. Just stand back in line. The money
Yeah,
goes
get
to the
your tray and
university. You
stand
ain't getting
back.
jack shit here.
Hey, do you guys want to live? Or like, I don't get, do you want to die? I mean, what are you doing?
Look,
Hey, Shawki.
I don't want
Vighnesh,
food.
they don't pay
Why
us
would I?
enough for this. They don't pay
Yeah,
us enough
I
for
don't-
this, man.
Man, I want to ask a question. How did he get the gun inside? How did security even let him inside? I'm
I don't know,
100%
man.
sure that's a water gun. Shoot me. Let me see.
No, shoot me first. I don't want to work at breakpoint. Shoot me first, please.
Yeah. I have
What?
3 kids, one of whom I don't know. I
I
don't
just have a
remember
dog. I
being
don't
in
care
the
about
labor.
him.
Yeah.
Shoot me first.
Yeah, I don't know who I'm sending money to. It's the wrong bank account. I think it's a 90.
You're sending to my bank account. Please don't stop.
Yeah, just go ahead.
I'm just gonna pretend you don't exist. Everyone else.
Only ones
Please
here
give
in
me a-
Breakpoint.
But do you want the keto chicken or not?
Yes. It's chicken without protein, so it's keto chicken.
You know
No,
what?
that's
You know
not
what?
keto
You know
works.
what? I'm calling the robbery off. Okay, I'm calling off. You guys have been robbed enough because clearly someone's robbed your freaking brains. Good day.
That was actually a fun joke.
And
that's a great
scene.
opening.
I do not know what keto chicken is. I've never been to
I love
You
this
want
one.
keto-
I loved
You
it.
want
I
keto
loved
chicken?
it.
Keto chicken.
I love the
Okay.
one where you both were like, shoot me, and you just started going off for each other. It was so funny.
On that note, we've reached the end of this discussion, or should I say, the final act of this discussion.
Hey.
Ah,
Hey.
terminology jokes. Good.
Thanks, guys, for doing this. I had such a good time.
Yeah, it's
I had a great time. Thank you so much.
This is usually the part where I ask people to plug something, but because of the exposure this channel's been getting, I don't think that's a viable option. But go ahead. If you want to plug something right now, go for it.
Guys, follow me on Instagram.
Plug your show.
at
Plug your
Fadatashi.
show.
Yeah,
You got that.
everyone, please follow Stayin Alive podcast. It is absolutely the best.
Yeah,
comedy
plug the
ever.
show.
Yeah,
Plug.
it is-
I'm plugging my own show. Great.
I mean,
That's so good.
The previous podcast about
Guys,
last.
follow Shawki for all funny and weird Instagram videos that are always very creative and entertaining. And don't forget to subscribe and like and comment what would you like to see more on this channel.
Yes, guys.
Yeah, that's a good note to end things on. Okay. Until the next episode, I'm gonna wave bye to everyone. So say bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
And.